Because it definitely becomes more difficult as you and your brother have just risen to this point of fame. Everybody wants to do business with you. Everyone wants to be associated with you, or maybe just people want to be seen with you for clout.
Yes, and another one is, and this, and I don't apologize for saying this, how rich is that person? How rich are they? How successful are they? If someone drives a Bugatti and owns tigers, like a lot of people do here, and said, Tristan, I want to meet you and your brother and talk business. I'm like, okay, this guy doesn't need to make $1 million. $1 million doesn't mean anything to this guy. Let's listen to what he says. When somebody who's flat broke says, I have an idea that will make us all a bunch of money, I'm like, you don't know what a bunch of money is. Because if I have the magic touch. Me and my brother could get involved in this broke guy's business. We could. And we could make it successful. And we could make $1 million a year. He'd make his $1 million a year. And he'd be so happy. He's got rich now because he's the business partner of the Tate brothers. I would have put time and effort into something and made less money than I sometimes make in a couple days. So how successful are they is a very big thing to do with how I make my decisions also. If someone's got a bunch of money and they're already successful, good. I'll talk to them because then they want to make an amount of money that's going to matter to them. Therefore, I'm going to make an amount of money that's going to matter to me. So yeah, at this stage, it's no brokies. I'm sorry, guys. So all you young men sending me your business ideas on Instagram, do them yourself. Like, I'm not going to do your business with you. I'm just not.
Success with women is much like success in business or success in sports. It's down to you. It's personal accountability. And that's what a lot of guys want to throw out the window these days. And what they want to do is they want to blame women.
Right.
It's like failing in every business you've ever attempted and failing to make money, and then blaming
industry.
Capitalism, or failing in every boxing match or every American football game and NFL game you've ever played, and blaming the referees or blaming the rules. No, it's personal accountability and it's personal responsibility. And when you see guys out there who say like all women are garbage, I believe them. Because I believe all the women they get to meet are garbage.
Right.
Because they're bottom feeders. They're low-tier men, and they're attracting low-tier women. And low-tier people of all sorts attract each other. Low-tier men have low-tier male friends. They get low-tier girlfriends. And I believe the women they meet are garbage. Right. They don't get to operate at my level, and they don't get to see how wonderful women truly are.
Right.
Because I'm picking the fruit at the top of the tree. Right. So I think a lot of these guys need to really, really look in the mirror, as I do. And sometimes I look at myself and think, Tristan, okay, you're a little out of shape. Tristan, okay, you've been sleeping too much, you've been partying too hard, you got bags under your eyes, you're letting yourself go a bit, and you have to keep yourself in check. You have to stay at the very top, and if you don't stay at your very top, you're not competitive anymore. Every single species on the whole planet is exactly the same. Every single female of every single species looks at the most competitive males and thinks, those are the ones I want to have my children. And women, human women, are exactly the same. So if you're not having the success with women that you want, don't go out there trying to blame women, and don't go out there trying to change women. Right. There are these big movements.
They're not trying to change.
Yeah, they're trying to change women.
22-year-old guys watching this. How can I get better in fashion? What tips could you give them?
Oh, there's one tip. There's one tip that overrules absolutely everything. Be in shape. The person who makes my suits, the same person who makes the suits of King Charles of England. Now, I have nothing bad really to say about King Charles, but he looks worse in his suits than I look in my suits. They're made by the same people. Why? Because I'm in good shape. A suit is all about how it fits you. Mm-hmm. It's not about, I have to be Tristan Tate, I'm going to go to Savile Row in London and I'm going to buy a $10,000 suit. No, get into good shape, buy a Hugo Boss suit, for a couple $100, maybe $1,000, you could put one together. Have your mother, have someone with a sewing machine, taper it in a little bit at the sides, make sure that the leg is the exact right length. But if you are shaped like a man in good shape, the suit's going to look good on you. There's no way you can be obese, lazy, out of shape individual and go to my tailor and come out of my tailor shop, regardless of how much you spend, looking like me. Be in shape is the #1 fashion advice I give to anyone. It's the old Versace t-shirt, on a big fat guy versus just a plain $5 t-shirt on a guy who's in decent shape. That's my advice to young men. Be in good shape and buy clothes that fit you. That overrules absolutely every single fashion rule that anyone could give.
It's very interesting to think that the first man ever banned from discussion in UK public schools is Andrew Tate. Adolf Hitler, you were allowed to talk about him during World War II and after World War II. The leader of Argentina during the Falklands War, Osama bin Laden after 9/11. Terrorists, school shooters, the 7/7 bombers who attacked the subway in London. You were allowed to discuss all these people in school.
The first man ever to be banned is a mixed race, a half-black kid from the projects who came up out of the projects and became a multimillionaire. Maybe they just want the working class to stay the working class. Maybe they don't want people like him opening his mouth. Maybe it's because he joked that men are better drivers than women, and he's a misogynist. I don't think it's the third option. I think it's either option 1 or option 2. I think he's dangerous to what people want to purport on the society.
I'm not really one to feel sorry for people that much because of the way that the internet has changed the world. I believe that people have positive role models and examples thrown in their face all the time. I feel like to sit back and say, oh, well, you know, I'm just a video game porn addicted playing, you know, guy with no muscles and no physique and no physicality. Oh, well, it's because I haven't got a positive role model. I feel like today isn't an excuse. I feel like that every single second that you're scrolling on your phone or looking at Instagram, etc., there are dudes out there, you know, even so much as selling little coaching calls or courses or, you know, who you'd want to be like. Mm-hmm. But it's easy. It's easier to sit around and play video games and masturbate than it is to get the money to buy real supercars and seduce beautiful women in the real world. It is much easier. And because it's easier, I feel like a lot of people don't want a way out. So I don't need to give them advice. I feel like the advice is out there. If you're watching this and that describes you, good. At least you're listening to people with a healthy mindset who maybe can inspire you a little bit to try to be like that. But the type of person who really needs this advice and isn't going to get it is never going to watch this podcast. They're not going to look at the photo of you there with your shoulders, etc., standing next to me with all my whatever car I'm next to and think, I'm going to listen to these two. So those people aren't watching. So we don't need to worry about them, you know? When I was 17, 18, I was shy. It wasn't so much with business networking because I didn't know anybody important, but I was shy to go up and talk to girls and stuff. And without the internet and without dating apps and all the little cheat codes that shy people use and men use now, they're crutches that people lean on, I just understood I'm not going to ever get laid if I don't go up and talk to that girl. So the advice I have for people who are too shy to put yourselves out there, too shy to approach women, too shy to, you know, try to, you know, pitch a business deal to somebody important, then good, have fun staying poor and lonely. You know, because it's especially when you're young, it's not easy. And it does take some balls, but just go and do it anyway. You know, the worst that people can do is say no. That was something in my mind, actually. People used to tell me that. Go talk to the girl. The worst you can do is say no. And that was it. Sometimes they'd say no.
Making money isn't everyone's purpose, but money makes everything about life better. I do understand people who say, oh, my goal in life isn't making money. There are other things that I like doing. And I always say, okay, tell me what those things are. Yeah. And if they say, oh, I like helping people, I say, imagine how many more people you could help if you had $100 million.
That's so
if
true.
They say, well, I just want to spend time with my family, you know, I don't want to be slaving away and making all this money. If I have enough money to live, I just want to spend time with my family and relax and raise my kids. I'm like, imagine how much time you could spend with your family and how much time you could spend with your kids if you had $100 million.
And you give them the best life.
Yeah, so money does make everything better, but no, it isn't everyone's purpose. I get people who want to live in a small cabin in the woods and fish for their food and just, you know, live without headache and, you know, have a wife and have their kids and just live off the land. Yeah, I completely get that. I completely get that, you know. I'm not going to walk up to the Bedouin people in the UAE and say, you need to make more money, bro, because they're very happy, content people. They've got their wives, they've got their kids, they've got their lifestyle, they've got their way of living, and it's very wholesome and it's very nice, you know. And they feel richer than a lot of people here in the West.
What people need to understand is 90% of the time, or 99% of the time, women have decided whether they're going to have sex with you before the date. They really have. You know,
whether their legs are shaved.
Exactly. Exactly. So you spoke to her. She finds you charming. She'll think, you know what? There's a possibility I'm going to fuck this guy tonight. She'll put on her best lingerie. You know, like she said, shave your legs, get ready. And if she's got ready, you have a very, very good chance of having sex. But there are some times where I've been talking to a girl for maybe a month, and we have our second date or first date, and I'm like, you know what? This one's in the bag. And it gets to 11 o'clock, and she's like, you know what? I'm going to have to get up early tomorrow. I should really get a taxi home. I'm the least pushy man. There's nothing attractive about being pushy because you don't understand her. Maybe she's on her period and she doesn't want to have sex with you. Maybe it's vulgar to a lot of guys listening or you don't want to hear, but maybe she's on her period. It's that time of the month and she thinks, you know what, I'd love to fuck Tristan, but I'm just not going to do that tonight in his house. I'd be embarrassed. I'd be ashamed. Me being pushy is just going to undo the month of hard work that I've done being charming and being nice and being kind because I'm not getting laid. So, first circumstance, you don't go home with her. Yeah, always be a gentleman.
Right.
Don't worry, let me get you a taxi home. Because why would you burn the hard work you've done and not bother setting up a second date? But it's not just that. I would just rather be nice. Right.
There was a time when me and Andrew could barely pay the rent. He was training and he was fighting full time. He was a kickboxing one-time world champion, I think, at the time. And I was selling windows. I'm a great salesman. So I was bringing home 1,000+ British pounds per week. He didn't tell you this story, did he?
No. He said it was a window
He
sale.
said he sold windows, not the one you bring in.
But he didn't say he was balling out, making 1,000 a week.
No, I mean, that's not balling out. I think these 3 glasses of whiskey cost about $1,000. But I was making about 1,000 British pounds a week. Andrew had a previous sales experience. I was at the time working in sales, and Andrew was just living off his fight money. So I would come home every day. I say, I made this much sales, etc. I'll pay the rent. You keep fighting, because I was helping to support his kickboxing career. One day, Andrew looks at me and he says, you know what, Tristan, I'm just going to start selling for the same company you're selling for. We could bring $2,000-$3,000 into the house a week. We'll have a good life. We'll make money. And I said, Andrew, no, you can't do that. You can't do that, because if you are spending all your time chasing sales leads and knocking on people's doors like I am, then you're never going to find the time to discover something better, to discover something that's going to take us out of this crappy apartment. It's going to take us out of this crappy life. So even back then, when I was willing to work away selling windows instead of kickbox, because I got paid almost nothing. I was the European champion at my height. Most I've ever got paid was £1,000 a fight. I knew that wasn't the financially viable option for me. I was willing to sell windows to let Andrew continue to have time to train, but also have time to think. So now everyone's like, oh, well, he's the face of this online persona, and you guys make a lot of money for it. I'm like, I'm fine behind the scenes. I'm perfectly happy. I'm not missing anything from my life with my 2 million Twitter followers. I need 6.8 million to fulfill. People will often try to, I guess, pit me against Andrew, which is the stupidest idea in the world. But they'll say stupid things to me like, your brother's more famous than you. And I'll say, yeah, my brother's more famous than you. Like, what's the big deal? If your brother were Mike Tyson, for example, and someone said your brother's a better boxer than you, you'd be like, yeah, my brother's Mike Tyson. It's this strange type of jealousy and envy that I think a lot of men can't cope with, that makes them drag each other down like crabs in a bucket. If my brother became, a billionaire, the world's richest man, and I had to stay at this level, I'd be like, yeah, my brother's the world's richest man. I'd be proud of him. And I don't see anything wrong with that. It's not a competition. We're a team.